This is in no way, shape, or form a good idea. Oh boy, this is a terrible idea. I'm sitting not in my grandma chair. I'm sitting to the adjacent wall. I don't know, just for some fun, just so you can see a different side. I like to keep you guys on your toes, huh? And you like to keep me on mine. Caradonna family. 2, I like hopped into my DMs the other day and walked into the wrong class. I absolutely love you guys. What do you guys talk about? But I must know. Glass animals. Just kidding. That's just what I talk about. Okay, anyways. I've been avoiding this topic like the plague. I don't go near this topic. I don't even write love songs. I hate it. I don't like to give it my energy. I don't like to give it... I'm just gonna quickly preface this by saying that I think love is the most powerful thing, the most beautiful, indescribable force on the planet. I think it's the only reason that life is at all worth living. I mentioned this in What is a Reason to Live video. The fact that we can feel things, the fact that we have any feelings at all, I think it really is what keeps us going. And I think that all boils down to love. It's probably the most important thing to me. I think that if you live your life in a way that is coming from a place of love, then you will never go wrong. Anybody who ridicules you for that, it doesn't matter. Like you're untouchable, but you're not trying to be untouchable. It's just infinite good, and it's good in and of itself. I have never disclosed my relationship status. I drop little hints in videos saying, I hate men. Just kidding, not all men, just the ones I've met. Because your girl has had a terrible track record with love. God awful. I don't know what you might expect from me if you watch my videos and you have some sort of projected perception of me that you've put onto me. You have some sort of expectation of how I behave in a relationship or what my relationship history is like, but let me paint the picture for you. Okay, I'm a Pisces sun, Libra moon, Aries ascendant, and Venus with a Scorpio Mars. So that just about sums up everything. I'm laughing a lot because this is a very personal topic for me, and I'm spilling it. On top of all that, I'm incredibly immature when it comes to love. I've had a crush on someone since kindergarten, and I was raised by a stay-at-home dad and was opposed to all things considered girly because of my deeply socialized, embedded misogyny. Thank you. But at the moment, I am further away from a relationship than I ever have been in my literal entire life. So I feel like now is the only time, and probably the best time, that I can talk about this. I've got no rose-colored glasses on. I've got no emotionally abusive colored glasses on either. So in theory, this should be a very unbiased hindsight 2020 look at my thoughts on love / my past with it. Briefly. Okay, that shit's this personal. Okay, this video could get gnarly long, so I'm gonna condense it into 3 categories. My past, how I dealt with it, my present, and my future situation with love. Okay? God, this is just so embarrassing. This is just so embarrassing. In the past, I based my entire life around boys. This may come as a surprise to some of you males, but I shit you not, I'm not the only woman that got ready in the morning with y'all in mind. The worst part is, eventually we all turned this into a this is for me, which is just bullshit. I had a crush on every guy that identified as a guy, and even one that didn't, I'm pretty sure. And I got rejected by all of them. Everyone that I had a crush on, I was rejected by. From 7th grade on. I had my first boyfriend at age 18, senior year. That's when I had my first kiss. That relationship was great though. I loved him, truly. We were best friends, and we're still on hella good terms. He's a great guy. That was a great relationship. I can't believe it was my first one, because it's kind of it set the expectations for what a relationship should be, and that has just not been matched since then. Let me tell you. After that relationship, shit hit the fucking fan, dude. I'm smiling because, thank God I'm not in it, but what the fuck? I'm not gonna tell you everything because it's so personal. That just feels like too much, but I want to give you a good enough idea so that the advice I give and what I say about where I am today And how I feel about this makes a bit more sense, and maybe you trust it a little bit more. To briefly sum up, I met someone and I fell in love with them on sight. And when I say on sight, I mean on sight. And then I did this thing that I only recently learned to stop doing. And it was, I envisioned our entire future together, exactly how we would be together. I projected all of it onto him, and then I proceeded for a year and a half to fit him into this picture, to fit this relationship into this image that I had fucking fully blown out in my head. This is that Pisces shit that I'm talking about, the dreamer, okay? My whole world is up here, and it's not realistic. A lot of it's based on fucking terrible movies. So I was fully in love with them. I went on dates with other people in the meantime, but none of them stuck, and I just kept coming back to this one guy who did not like me in the way I liked him. So I played the game. I held back a lot, and I lied to myself, and I gave him just enough to keep him coming back. I kept that vision of our future, the perfect future, perfect relationship when we'd finally be together, alive and thriving on Snapchat. Then when we finally did get to be together, I don't want to describe too much what happened, but essentially he kind of ghosted me and lied to me and just took my heart and set it down. There wasn't even like a brutal stabbing or anything. He just sort of set it outside his door and like locked it. So all that dramatic emotional grieving happened on my end with zero contact, communication, or closure. And it was pain. Fuck it, like sometimes it still is. I'll get to that later. Hindsight's a bitch though. He was bad news from day one, and my brain rejected any shred of evidence that went against the world I dreamed of, in which we lived happily ever after. Okay, shortly after that, and I mean lightning round, baby, somebody else steps in, and apparently I had not learned my lesson about red flags, projection, and literally lying to yourself about what is going on, because boom, heartbreak. These are insane stories. I can't tell them to you. Like, I can't. I don't want to. But I think part of me actually making it less of a priority in my life is not holding it to such a high esteem or such highly classified information. Man, I couldn't even do it anymore. The few dates I went on, not only was I like hyper aware of the guy's intentions and like everything that was going on, but I also was disinterested. Like, there was not one feeling in my body because I just was so tired and like wrung out. I was like a wet rag that had just been like squeezed out. Like, there was straight up nothing left for me to give. I didn't want to. I just didn't need to be going through that type of emotional abuse again. It's not even all their fault. That's not even what I'm saying. I mean, I put myself in that position. I let myself go through that. So, leading someone on is shit, and don't do it. If you're doing it, you're an asshole. And if you don't know you're doing it, then fucking wake up. Okay, so moving on from all that shit, here's what I learned. 1, my self-worth does not come from a guy's opinion of me or how he treats me. How people treat you has nothing to do with you. And it has everything to do with them, who they are, and the mental and emotional baggage they carry with them on a daily basis. Everyone's got their own custom set of mental issues, okay? And those come out all the time, all these different ways, and it is not personal to anyone. 2, don't listen to what people say or even get stuck on their actions in the beginning. Pay attention to what they say about their past. People are their patterns. People hardly ever break their patterns. How they acted in their last relationship is exactly how they'll act to you. You are not the exception, and even if you were, there might always be a lingering distrust or anxiety about what could happen. For example, if they cheated on their partner in the past, it's likely gonna happen again. Does it have anything to do with you? No. And before you even go there, Beyonce got cheated on. It's not about you. You're not the one that's gonna fix that. 3, pay attention to what you actually like about this person, okay? Is it the attention they give you? Is it the attention they get from other people? And you just wanna be the one with them? You just wanna be the person that has a person? Are you just feeling alone and you need someone else to validate your existence? I mean, there could be a million things at play. I think the easiest way to tell is to strip the relationship down to a friendship and see if it's actually something you wanna sustain, because that's the only healthy, lifelong relationship that will last. I'm not saying tell your boyfriend or girlfriend, I just want to be friends. I'm just saying pay attention to your conversations, what you do together. Are you afraid to tell them things? Do you talk about interesting topics or just how much you like each other? Do you do interesting, fun things together, or do you just fuck? I mean, these are the differences between a friendship and a fuckship. Okay, now let's just say you have bad answers to all of these. I can help you because I did too. The most important thing you can do here is tell yourself the truth. That means if you're picking at details and little scraps of words or actions to defend this person's behavior towards you, you're lying and doing mental gymnastics to sustain the vision you have in your head of what the relationship is, not what it actually is. So stop, and it's time to get hurt and grow. Like I said, I had the worst answers to all of these. I'm telling you, my self-worth came from how I was being treated, which means I literally hated myself if they weren't talking to me very much or seemed disinterested, because I didn't think that I was worthy of self-love if they didn't love me. No, it makes no sense. Thank you for pointing that out. I painted over every inch of red I saw with insane fantasies. I wanted someone to fit into my life exactly the way I envisioned it. And the only reason I needed them was because I felt deeply alone and like I absolutely needed someone. Okay, if this sounds like you, here we go. I first made a list of everything I liked in these guys. Each guy gets his own list, okay? Everything you like about them. Then I recognized that I had all those traits in me. And the only reason I even liked them in them was because I liked them in me, or I wanted to be like that. It's just easier to love it in someone else. The next thing I did was unfollow people, okay? Truthfully, all it means is that I don't want to see your posts. Or I don't want you to see mine, because when I post, I'll have you in mind. And I don't want that on my Instagram. It's my Instagram. I don't want to be thinking about somebody else, what they're gonna think. I don't want to be waiting to see if they'll like it or comment. Like, fuck that's gross. People think I'm like severing the relationship when I unfollow them. Bruh, it's Instagram. If Instagram was holding this relationship together, then there never was one, bro. Shut that shit down. Don't be scared to unfollow people. It's not like you're killing them. If you're friends, if you have a real relationship, you'll text. And then you can just follow each other again when the time is right. When you're in a place where seeing their pictures isn't gonna do something to you that you don't have time for. I literally don't have the cognitive resources to give up to that, because I think about so many fucking projects all day long. There are a million. I'm 22 fucking years old. I've got my whole life to think about right now. I'm at that stage of being an artist where it's like, now you get to commit and go broke doing it, and it actually might not even happen, but you decide that now. And that's just a really scary place to be in. And I'm not gonna go into it because that's a whole other fucking video. But I literally don't have the time to scroll through Instagram, see a post that a boy has with this new girl, and get sad about it. I literally don't have time for that. And can I say something about unfollowing people? This is gonna blow your mind. This is literally gonna blow your mind. I cannot make this up. When you get rid of the things in life that are not serving you, you make room for the things that will. Now that sounds like hippy dippy bullshit coincidence, maybe, but hear me out. The day I unfollowed the guy that I decided to marry, like I was in love with him, I was bawling my eyes when I unfollowed. I knew I had to. I knew I didn't have any self-respect or any self-love if I didn't let this person go. I didn't even truly love them if I didn't let them go. But I was sobbing as I hit unfollow. That night, Dave Bailey from Glass Animals followed me on Instagram. I can't make this up. I literally, that day was kind of like a drop tower that goes the other way. It was the most insane low and the most insane high I've ever experienced in one day. That shit's real. So now, here comes the even harder part than doing all that. It's now time to look in the mirror and love yourself. You have to detach from the trauma of whatever happened and realize that it has nothing to do with you. Their pattern was cheating and you got cheated on? Great, they're a cheater. You're not someone that's destined to be cheated on. What are your patterns? And look back at your previous relationships and say, oh wow, I give adequate time and attention to this other person. I consider their wants and needs and feelings and understand that my actions have an emotional effect on this person, so I'm gonna be considerate and not an asshole. And communicate. Side note, I'm a terrible communicator. Okay, my biggest value in life, but in a relationship, is honesty. And I'm like never an open book. I think a lot of that came from the fact that they didn't make me feel safe enough to be that way. But I also find it in real life too. So I'm not saying you're perfect just because you're the one that got hurt. I'm not saying I'm perfect, but I am saying, recognize the good and the bad. You gotta start giving all that love you were giving them to yourself. And that shit's gonna be weird at first, but then you're gonna feel whole. Pour yourself into what you're passionate about and let time pass. I'm telling you, with enough distance, your emotional response to those events and the thoughts of that person weakens. It just does. Do I still cry over some of that shit? Yes, absolutely. But it doesn't dehydrate me anymore. In fact, it lasts a second and then I remember all the terrible shit that made that relationship so bad, and then I laugh and move on. And it's a great day. The future. I'm not concerned. 7 fucking billion people on this planet. That's a number I can't even fathom. One of them will interest me, and I will interest them. And I won't have to beg, I won't have to guess, and I won't have to lie to them or myself. That's it. Values. Values. Life to me is contingent on values. I live for my values. The fact that values as like a concept even exist is the only reason that I'm like, that I do okay and I'm still alive. Values are my religion. I can expand on that in another video. But my point is, no matter what, moving forward, all that matters to me is that I live by my values and that my partner's values align with mine. And one of my values is good taste in music. Yeah! That's it. That's this video. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments and maybe I'll make another video answering them if there's enough and you guys want that, or if I feel like that seems necessary. And let me know your thoughts too. I feel like I have a lot of male viewers. Actually, I don't feel like that. The numbers speak for themselves. So if this comes as a shock to you, I mean, I would hope that you listen to this video and maybe pay a little bit more attention to how you make people feel. Now, I'm not saying guys are the only problem. I'm just saying that I have a lot of friends that are girls and I have a lot of friends that are guys. And the way they talk about relationships and how the other person treats them there's a difference. And that's not to say that I don't have some girlfriends that are fuck boys. So it does work both ways. But in my little tiny bubble, in my perception of the life that I was dropped into, this is what I see. This is the advice I have because this is all I know. And the pattern has been guys tend to err on a little bit more of the selfish side and are lacking a little basic empathy. And oftentimes the only reasons that they aren't gonna give their partner or the person on the other side of the relationship that sweet release or some type of closure or explanation is out of fear that the person doesn't want to hear from them, or fear that they'll say something that they didn't need to say and it'll be embarrassing. A lot of it just comes from fear and they're cowards about it. And it's like, man, I'm over here just not hearing anything and it hurts more than literally anything. So don't be cowards, be empathetic, and that goes for literally everyone about literally everything. I'm not saying I'm perfect. This is advice for everyone. I'm not sitting here being like, you all do this and match me. I'm saying, let's all fucking try to do this because it's hard. It's hard, but it's harder to be the person that takes it and gets emotionally abused by someone else's inability to just step up, to just fight that fear a little bit, to just be honest or just be sensitive, be emotionally aware. Okay, that's this vid. Peace out. Thank you for watching and I'll see you in the next vid. Okay, bye.